Hey everyone, I hope you are all doing okay during this pandemic here. I'm just curious, if you're an essential worker, thank you very much for being out there providing us food, being a frontline worker. And if you're not, thank you for staying at home and doing your part. But when you're at home, what are you doing? I'm just curious. Leave a comment below. I can tell you what I'm doing. I've always wanted to actually learn how to bake, and I've been learning to bake. And I've been using this time to actually go and deliver lots of goodies to people that can't get out or really like baking. I know some people are taking up a different language or learning an instrument. So anyways, leave a comment below. I want to know what you think. So let's get on to today's test. We are taking a quick look at the new Audi SQ5. And we are in it right now. And I just want to give a special thanks to Portfolio by Open Road, who have supplied me this vehicle to do this test. And in case you're wondering what Portfolio is, it's one of the ultimate car subscriptions for premium and luxury cars. It's super simple. You pay one fee, and other than fuel, it includes everything else, including insurance. It's like being an auto journalist. You can drive a new vehicle every single week, whether it is a convertible, whether it's a full-size sport utility, you name it. They've got almost everything out there for you to choose from. And the nice thing about Portfolio is the flexibility, especially in uncertain times like this. You don't have to be locked into a long-term lease and be paying for something that's just sitting in your driveway because you're not really driving anywhere. So if you're interested in Portfolio, check out the link I have in the video description. It might not be for everyone, but for some, this is the perfect solution. This new Q5 just came out a couple years ago, and it's based off of the MLB platform from Volkswagen. So a few other vehicles share the same platform, including the Porsche Macan, which I'd say is probably one of the closest competitors to this, along with the Mercedes GLC, the BMW X3. On the outside, I'd have to say the styling is quite conservative. There's nothing too radical going on here. You do have those great LED signature headlights that you see, as well as that signature grille. This comes standard with those LED lights. It's also standard on the SQ5. They are 21-inch wheels. Now, I did check online. You got to check with wherever you live. You might have different trim packages or different models of the SQ5 than what we have here in Canada. I know the US has different models and even different names for them. So in Canada, we have two trim levels. There's the Progressive, and then there's the Technic. And we'll get to the differences in a little bit. There's not a huge amount of difference, but it does come very, very well equipped. So you get the LED headlamps, the tail lamps, a power lift gate. In the back, when you open it up, there's a lot of room back there. There's a roll-up tonneau cover. And what do I like? Something really simple. There are hooks on either side, so you can hook your bags on there. I'm a huge, huge fan of that. Also, there are levers, manual levers to fold those rear seats down. On the inside, it's what you expect from Audi. Great, great fit and finish. The materials all first rate, soft touch materials. The leather feels very, very good, very supple. The seats are supportive. Standard are heated front seats. You can also get ventilated seats depending on what package you get. These have ventilated seats. You also get a standard heated steering wheel if you don't opt for the D-shaped steering wheel. So if you want the more sporty looking wheel with a flat bottom, that one does not have heat. So one or the other. If you live in a warmer climate, pick that one. It looks pretty cool. Steering wheel is great. I love the look. You have that nice little S emblem on it. But once again, the simple things. This has a volume wheel. I love Audi and their volume wheels. They're not the only ones, but they were one of the first for sure, I'd say. My apologies for a lot of road noise. I'm on the freeway right now, and this whole huge stretch, they've torn it all up. The road is very, very rough. It's that real rough sounding pavement. So see, now it got smooth there. So we're gonna be in and out of that type of pavement. Also standard is a 12.3-inch digital cockpit. Very, very clear graphics, very simple to use. On your left side, you have another wheel, and you can scroll up and down. So right now we are on radio, and then there are arrow buttons on the top, so we can go from navigation, we can go into our trip meter, and when we are on navigation, if we hit the view button, we can bring up the whole screen as our navigation, and we just have a tiny little tachometer and speedometer on the right side. So this really is nice to be right in front of it. You don't have to really take your eyes too much off the road to see that. Also available is a head-up display, which this one is equipped with. In the center, you have your MMI, your multimedia interface, that's just over 8 inches. And unlike the Q8 that we just had, this one does not have a touch screen. So it's all controlled with the trackpad system down by the shift lever. And one thing about the shift lever on the Q8 and this, which I do like, I haven't driven Audis for a while, so this is new to me. This might be old for a lot of you that have driven a lot of Audis, is that the shift lever is nice and wide and flat. So it's very comfortable to rest your palm on this shifter, especially when you're using this trackpad. So it's kind of like, you know, one of those mouse pads that have that little cushion for your wrist. You have a trackpad that you can actually write characters if you're using this for a different language, or write letters for your navigation. But I don't know how many people really use the in-car navigation. I know I rarely do, especially if the vehicle has Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which this is capable of using. So you just plug it in and we have Apple CarPlay as well. This also comes with a huge panoramic roof. It lets a lot of light in for the front and the rear passengers. It's really nice to have, especially that it's standard. So let's talk about the 2 trim levels that we have here in Canada. Remember, it might be called something different in your market. The Progressive has everything that we talked about here, so it's very, very well equipped. And then there's the Technic, which gives you a few other goodies, like you get the Bang & Olufsen stereo system. It also has a 360 camera system, and if you've been watching the channel, you know I'm a huge fan of that, especially for parking for curbs. You can really see that front camera really nicely. Now, you can get this as an option if you get the Progressive as a standalone option, but the Technic trim isn't a lot more money though. So the Progressive starts at $64,400 and the Technic starts at just $68,500. So not a lot, and you get that B&O system, you get the 360 camera, you also get heated and cooled drink holders if that's important to you. You get rear heated seats and a nice ambient lighting package. So it's not too bad considering you do get all of that. In the back, just like the Macan, there's ample room, but it's not huge. This is kind of in the compact class. I do like how they've carved out the seat backs of each front seat for your knees though, for the rear passenger. That does make a big difference, having that carve out. The seats also do move forward and back, and they also recline. Middle passenger though, if you are running 5 passengers in here, it's gonna be tight, but also there's a huge hump in the middle for the drive line. So let's talk about the drive. The normal Q5, the non-S version, is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, and it puts out 248 horsepower. Meanwhile, this SQ5 is powered by a 3-liter V6 turbocharged engine, and it puts out 101 horsepower more, so 349 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. And that's about the same amount as the Porsche Macan as well, except the Macan uses a dual clutch transmission, whereas this one uses an 8-speed automatic regular transmission. And the regular Q5 also uses a 7-speed dual clutch transmission as well. But the shifts are fairly quick for this. You can go into sport mode. That does make it respond quicker for sure. Just one pull back, you're in sport mode. And what I like about this whole Audi system, I gotta say, and it's a small thing, is when you go into your drive modes, so you have your drive select, and we can choose here. We have dynamic, we have automatic, where it's going to adjust everything for you. Comfort mode, just for going about town, but and off-road as well, I do like the dynamic. Also, there's individual. You can set every parameter you want and just have that there. But what I like is that when you get into the vehicle and you start it up, it defaults to what you left it at. It doesn't always default to comfort mode. And I love that, because a lot of times if a certain vehicle, I like the dynamic or the sport mode because it's not too aggressive, let's say. I want to just be in that mode all the time. I don't have to go and push a couple buttons. So we are on a nice twisty road right now. We're in dynamic mode. The SQ5 also comes standard with adjustable suspension, so variable dampers on this. You put your foot into it, you got a little bit of a burble for the sound. We throw it into the corner here. Oh, there goes the camera on the seat. You can feel this is an SUV. There is some weight to it. The center of gravity is not as low as a car, but you feel very connected. Very, very well connected. Now, having driven the Porsche Macan S and the GTS lately, I can say they do have a sportier feel to them, mainly because I think the Macan is actually lower. You just have a more of a cockpit-like experience with the Macan. Not saying that there's anything bad with this. This one just feels good. It does what you ask it to. You've got plenty of torque and on-demand power. The steering is very, very precise. Everything is good. It's just not super sporty. But if you're buying an SUV like this, are you really looking for a sports car? I don't know. That's why I do like the Macan, because the Macan is kind of like the best of both worlds. Okay, let's try a 0 to 60 here. And we are at 100 and, we'll just say about 100 and something kilometers per hour. Yeah, definitely no issue with speed. 0 to 60 is rated about 5 seconds. It's over a second faster than the regular Q5. And this has a more traditional quattro all-wheel drive system, by the way. Instead of the regular Q5 has a system that is more of a front bias system. So it can disconnect the rear drive to save fuel, and it can instantly apply torque to the rear wheels when needed. This one, though, is more of a rear bias system, so it's a 40-60 split, 60 for the rear, 40 for the front, which gives it a more engaging or sportier dynamic drive. And I think they really dialed in the steering really nice. They really did. Once again, if you want to go into your individual settings, you can choose whatever you want. If you want a sport suspension, or dynamic as they call it, you want a normal comfort steering, something that's a little bit lighter. Even to the sound, you can change the sound for this. So I've been asked, which one do you get, this or the Porsche Macan? It all depends. First of all, it depends on your budget, because the Porsche Macan is more expensive. This one, as tested, is about $73,000 with all the options it has. And the Macan S, similarly equipped, would run you about $78,000. That's what I configured on the computer. So it's about $5,000 more. And with the Macan, you can really add on a lot of other things. You can make the Macan basically close to $100,000 if you really tried. There's a lot of a la carte options. So let's just say between $70,000 and $80,000. Personally, I like the styling of the Macan. I always have. I think it's a great looking, not just SUV, but vehicle in general. I love the handling of the Macan, but especially I love the interior. This has a modern, simplistic look, which there is nothing wrong with whatsoever. As I mentioned, It's all well put together. It looks great and it holds up over time, but I just like the design of the interior of the Macan. I like the middle console, and I like how you really feel like you are the center of attention, the driver. You're in a cockpit opposed to just a wide open space, but that's just my preference. Some may think that this might be a little too soft, like even in dynamic mode with the adjustable dampers. I think it's actually quite supple. It doesn't beat you up at all. Not like that X3M from BMW that I tested a while back. That thing, basically, it rattled my fillings out. That was a more hardcore performance version of that X3. Yeah, you can live driving this in dynamic mode every day without issue at all. I really have not even put it into comfort mode, which I normally do have, but it's not necessary. It's a great sounding engine, actually. Well, that's it for our quick look at the new Audi SQ5. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and hit that bell notification. That way you won't miss out on any new content that I put out, and there's some good videos coming, seriously. So anyways, thanks for watching, and more importantly, stay safe. Woo!